And hello out there, you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here, flying solo again. He's still a little bit under the weather, but he's getting in there. He's getting a little bit better. Other than that, how's everybody else doing out there? Hope your week was going, or is going good. It's almost the weekend. Today's Thursday, recording here. I want to come out and say, though, to our listeners down in the Carolinas, please be safe with the Hurricane Florence coming in. I know they're, evacuating everybody now, but don't be stupid. Just listen to the authorities and get out of there. It's not worth sticking around. A lot of football talk this week. We had the NFL Week 1 in the books. Started off with the Eagles and the Falcons on Thursday night. Ended with, what was the second game? It was Oakland and LA Rams, I believe it was. A lot of stories coming out of that, out this past week. Some college football talk. This will be week 3 of college football, so hopefully we'll start seeing some meaningful games. Talk a little Notre Dame. They pretty much did what I was thinking they would do. Unfortunately, they didn't play up to their talents. I mean, they won, but they definitely should have lost that game the way they were playing. And then earlier today, we have a little hockey news. Especially with hockey season roughly being about 2-3 weeks out. We had Erik Karlsson from the Senators being traded. We'll touch on that a little bit. And then we'll go into our week 2 of NFL already. So we'll start. We'll kick off the show with the hockey trade that happened earlier today. I think it happened like right around 3:30, 4 o'clock, I think it was. So this story really shouldn't be too much of a surprise because it pretty much every week of the off season, there was a lot of talk about Erik Karlsson being traded from the Senators, and I know there was a little bit there that I think I saw that they were talking about a long-term contract with the Senators, hoping that he would stick around to stay, but today came and the Senators traded Erik Karlsson to the San Jose Sharks. The Senators received center Chris Tierney and defenseman Dylan DeMello, prospects Josh Norris and Rudolph Balcers. Sorry if I butchered that name. And a conditional 2019 second round draft pick and a conditional 2020 first round draft pick. Now, if you listen to some of our shows, King is the hockey nut, and I'm getting there too. But I mean, he's been following hockey a lot longer than I have. I've only been following hockey about 5 years now or so. Me being a Flyers fan, and even before I got into hockey, I knew like the Wayne Gretzky's, I knew the big names. But getting into hockey, I've always seen this name, so I knew this was a big trade coming. Really, who else did the Senators have? They had to get rid of one of their bigger players to maybe build up their farm system and just go into full rebuild mode. And you never know how long it's going to take. I mean, you look at the Flyers and the Devils. We were supposed to be 3-4 years down the road here. We made the playoffs last year. Second year into the rebuild stage. So, with him being traded, the Senators are trading, their franchise player, 5-time All-Star. That's harder to replace, but I mean, the way I look at what they're getting back, just the draft picks alone, I think it's a good deal. I think both both teams, I think, made out good on this deal here. And we'll see how the Senators do in a year or two. But so we're gonna move on to a little college football talk. Talk about the last week's games, any surprises, any good games at least. I mean, like I said with Notre Dame, I know our team didn't live up to what we should have did against Ball State. And every year we do this too. We play to our opponents. We at least 3/4 of the Michigan game destroyed them and then let them back in. But Ball State, we just let them in the game the whole time. And I kind of blame Wimbush. I mean, I know he likes to take chances and really sneak the ball into tight spots, but sometimes you gotta just eat the bullet sometimes. And I also kind of blame Kelly. After the third interception, he should have been pulled. I think Ian Book is going to be a good quarterback for Notre Dame. He runs just as good as Wimbush, I think, and I think he's a more accurate passer. So I'm curious to see this week if he'll start or if Wimbush will be on a short leash. But I mean, if I was Kelly, I definitely would have him on a short leash. But with that being said, though, Notre Dame stayed at number 8, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought they would at least drop a spot or two. One game that turned out to be a real close game was Clemson and Texas A&M. Clemson pulled out the win 28-26, but Texas A&M wasn't even ranked. And they're another tricky team, too. You don't know what team's going to show up. I mean, they basically have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And that's how they played against Clemson. Clemson, I'm not sure if they overlooked them, but that would have been a huge upset if Clemson lost it. But this week, Clemson's got Georgia Southerners, so, I mean, you say a cupcake game, but you just never know with some of these teams. I'm not even going to talk Alabama because they're still not playing anybody. I mean, Ole Miss, they're okay, but they're not a powerhouse to give Bama a hard time or any fits. You have Ohio State against TCU, which this was the game a couple weeks back that me and King talked about when we were talking about the Urban Meyer situation. That King said that he could see TCU beating them, and this could be their first loss. So far in 2 weeks that they have played, again, I mean, they really haven't played anybody, but they've shown they're not messing around. I mean, the first week I think they won 71-3 or something outrageous like that, and then this past week against Rutgers they won 52-3. So I mean, this game here I think will definitely show if this Urban Meyer thing is going to affect them at all. And the way they're playing, it's not showing it. Another interesting game would be Auburn against LSU. We got Auburn at number 7 and LSU at number 12. I mean, I could see LSU pulling this out. LSU last week, I mean, granted, they only had southeastern Louisiana, which they won 31-0. But this will be a test to show what LSU can do. And I'm curious to see how they do. But the rest of the games don't look like there's going to be any upsets. But again, I could be wrong. Some surprises today. The NFL released NFL Hall of Fame released the next round of inductees, and one player that I don't think will make it anytime soon, which is my boy Dominic McNabb, was one of them. Now, I got a list up here from the Pro Football Hall of Fame who's been eligible and on the list. You got Randall Cunningham, who again I think should be in there already. I don't think he should have been waiting this long. He helped change the position, along with Steve McNair, who's on this list. If it wasn't for those two guys, you wouldn't have seen the Jeff Garcias, who's on the list as well, or Steve Young, or Deshaun Watson, the running quarterbacks. As far as running backs, you got Eddie George, who should be in there. Sorry, excuse me. Edgar and James with the Peyton Manning Colts, Tony Dungy team, all those years. Eric Metcalf, who was a great returner. I don't know if he would be considered. I mean, he's listed as a wide receiver, kick return, punt return, but I don't know. But either way, I mean, he was a, not to overuse the word, electrifying return man. Some of the receivers, Isaac Bruce, who, again, I think should be in there with the greatest show on earth, or greatest show on turf, sorry, with Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk and Torrey Holt. They had some good offenses those years. I think he should definitely make it this year. Speaking of Torrey Holt, he's on here. Chad Johnson, who is eligible, but he's still saying he wants to play, so I don't know. I don't think he'll definitely make it. Hines Ward, which I don't know. I get up into a fight all the time with my sister over this because she's a Steelers fan. He was a good receiver, but I don't think he was a Hall of Fame receiver. Yeah, he was your number one guy, and he was a good run blocker as a receiver, but I definitely not a number one, a first ballot Hall of Famer. Then you move on to the tight ends, and this one here, this is a no-brainer. He shouldn't even have to wait. They should call him up now. Tony Gonzalez. I mean, he without a doubt helped change that position. Him and Antonio Gates. They were the ones that kind of brought in the basketball player type plays. It wasn't, the Heath Millers or Brent Sellicks, where the hard nose and all they did is block. These guys are the ones that helped start the catching tight end, paving the way for the Jimmy Grahams and the Zach Ertz, the Kelsey from Kansas City. Those guys should be thanking Tony Gonzalez, and whenever he does retire, Antonio Gates, because they're the ones that help that. As far as offensive line, Tony Baselli with the Jaguars teams, one of the first players to be drafted by the expansion team. Alan Faneca with all the Steelers Super Bowl teams. I forget what team he moved on to, but once he went up to the Jets, I think it was, he really never regained that form he had with the Steelers. And speaking of the Jets, you got Kevin Maui, played center and guard I know he played center for the Jets, but he was a big boy, and he was a very good center too. Curious to see if he makes it in or not. As far as linebackers, you got Teddy Bruschi, which probably make it just because he's from the Patriots, and everybody loves the Patriots. But he was a good linebacker. I'll give him his credit. You got Willie McGinnis, Zach Thomas, who I think should make it. He was small, and he was playing with the Dolphins for all those years. That really had no offense. I mean, it was towards the end of Marino's time, but he had no help there, and he still played lights out. As far as defensive backs, Eric Allen with the '90s Gang Green team. tops the list here. Got Champ Bailey, John Lynch, who's the GM with the Niners now. I love Dawkins, and I'm glad he made it, but John Lynch is right up there with Dawkins. I mean, if Dawkins made it, Lynch has to make it. He played that game, hard-nosed, smash mouth. Didn't care how big you are, he was knocking you out. Darren Woodson was another one, even though he was a Cowboy. He played the game same way. I'm pretty sure, wasn't he the one when they played the Steelers in the Super Bowl, kept picking off Bubby Brister when Brister threw it to no one in the area except for Darren Woodson? And I still remember that one. And then you got your special teams and kickers. Kickers, you got Jason Elam, which it's hard for kickers and punters to get in there. But special teams, you got Brian Mitchell. As far as coaches, you got Bill Cowher. I mean, you'd think he would be making it. Mike Holmgren with all the Green Bay years, the Super Bowl's there, and the Super Bowl that he won with Seattle with Sean Alexander and I forget who the quarterback was now too. But this is a good lineup of coaches. You got Bill Cowher, you got Mike Holmgren, Jimmy Johnson, Dan Reeves, Marty Schottenheimer, Dick DeMille. That's actually a pretty good lineup of coaches that could potentially be in the Hall of Fame this year. But if I had to pick my top 5 players that should be in the Hall of Fame there, I mean, obviously you gotta go Tony Gonzalez. He changed the game, like I said. I think Randall Cunningham should be in there. Yes, maybe because he is an Eagles, but also he did change that position. He was before Steve McNair. He helped usher it in, and McNair kind of took the torch and led the way with it. Running backs wise, I don't think there should be one of those for my top 5. Wide receivers, I mean, Isaac Bruce, I would go with, and even Torrey Holt. Like I said, they put up some big numbers when they were the greatest show on turf. And then, as far as defensive backs, I mean, you gotta go with John Lynch. That class there. So there's my picks for the top 5. You got Randall Cunningham, John Lynch, Tony Gonzalez, Isaac Bruce, and Torrey Holt. And I'm curious to see what all you guys listening from that list, who do you think should make it? I'm going to try to put a poll up of it, possibly, and, get a little feedback from you guys. So continuing with football talk. Week 1 was this past week, and started off with the Eagles-Falcons, which I talked about a little bit last week, so I won't really go into it, even though Nick Foles is starting again this week. And I'm kind of happy, but I'm kind of upset. A lot of my buddies at work, they think Foles should start and just rest Wentz, and I'm starting to think now. I think they should start Foles until he loses a game, and then bring Wentz in. Because that conference is going to be so tight. One game is going to be a make or break playoff spot. But as far as me and King's division, the Cowboys were the Cowboys. Once again, just can't put points up. They have no offense. The offensive line was terrible again, as well as the Giants' offensive line. I don't know if you guys follow King on Twitter. You follow him at King of Skunk Duck, and myself at Jimbo ST Sports. And if you want to keep actually going, since I'm getting off topic here, follow the show at ST Sports Podcast. But getting back to what I was saying, the Giants' offensive line, even though Saquon Barkley, he had a big debut. Nice, 68-yard run, I believe it was. I watched the video, man. He's going to be tough to contain. He looks big, but he runs like and makes moves like Barry Sanders. But the surprise team of our division out from this past week was the Redskins. Adrian Peterson just going off against his old team now. I didn't think he would go off like that. Definitely would have had some meaning behind it for him, since the Cardinals traded him away to the Saints or released him. I forget which one it was. So obviously he wanted to show up his old team. But now with that being said, I still say pump the brakes a little bit to the Redskins fans. This is one game. They played a Cardinals team which is on the verge of being in a rebuilding stage. You got Larry Fitzgerald, who's getting up there in age. You got Sam Bradford, who, if he makes the season, they're lucky. They have a rookie quarterback waiting in the wings. So pump the brakes a little bit on the win, I would say. But the team that I want to give kudos to is the Cleveland Browns. They finally did not lose a game. Granted, it was a tie, but hey, you gotta start somewhere. And like King said, hey, this is progress. Came to a tie, 21-21. And the funny part, just like Brown's style, had a game-winning field goal set up and had it blocked. But like me and King said, though, you gotta start somewhere. Maybe next week they pull out the win and all those people in Cleveland get the free beer from Bud Light. Then another game that I want to talk about a little bit is Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears. Khalil Mack's first game as a Bear. Aaron Rodgers' first game back since signing that big contract. And it was all Bears in the first half. Khalil Mack was just a beast out there. Sacks, fumble recoveries, touchdowns. I mean, he came out basically. Marshawn Lynch grabbed his nuts and said, "There you go, Raiders. That's how I feel about you. That's what you gave up." And one of the plays, Aaron Rodgers got sacked, and the way the two Bears guys landed on him hurt his, I think it was his knee that they said he got hurt. Now, I wasn't watching the game, so I ended up seeing the highlights. But watching Twitter, it sounded like he was dead. I mean, he had to be carted off to the locker room, and I was seeing a lot of the memes out there with Simba pushing on Aaron Rodgers like from The Lion King, and thinking, oh my God, blow his knee out again or something. So I had work the next day, so I went to bed and woke up and I saw the final was 24-23. Rodgers returns from injury. So I just read the article, and he's jogging out of the locker room after he got carted off the field. And the big joke between me and my dad is back in the 90s when Dallas Cowboys had Emmitt Smith, it always seemed like he would do the same thing. He would go down, get hurt, go to the back of the locker room, get a shot or whatever they do back there that no one knows what they do, come out and win the game for him. But Aaron Rodgers was quoted saying that he didn't take anything, no pills, no shots, because he doesn't believe in that. Come on. Then if you didn't take anything, okay, yes, your adrenaline's pumping and all that, you're still going to feel it. If you were hurt that bad, you would still feel it. And I'm hoping, I like Rodgers, and I hope he doesn't turn into my version of Emmitt Smith, because I will lose respect for him. I mean, if you're hurt, you're hurt. It's the first week of the season. You're going to play the Bears again. Live to fight another day. But the Packers pulled it out, and I figured that Khalil Mack was going to, again, I know it's only one game, but that Mack trade what is going to make the Bears a lot more talented team, and I don't think they're going to be fighting for last place anytime soon. They got a young quarterback that could move the offense, some good receivers, and a good running back, and I think Jordan Howard is the running back. So now with us, moving on to week 2 of the NFL season, we got the Ravens and Bengals tonight, which I think could be a good game. I'm going to try to stay up and watch a little bit of it. We got Joe Flacco against Andy Dalton. Divisional game, so there's a little bit of rivalry there. Curious to see how chippy they get. But I just don't think the Bengals are going to be able to stop the Ravens. I'm going to go with the Ravens with this one, but I want to say it's going to be like a 14-10 type game. I wonder if they're going to keep putting Lamar Jackson there, and I think Joe Flacco has a lot to prove this season, because he's gone after the season. Lamar Jackson's going to take it over, if not, by the end of the year. Some other games that we have to look forward to. Another divisional game, got Dolphins and the Jets. Jets winning big. Let's see if they keep the ball moving with that one, with Sam Darnold starting again. Didn't play that bad. First pass was a pick 6, but calmed down and got the win. Another interesting game would be the Chiefs and Steelers. Still no Le'Veon Bell. The Steelers actually took him off the depth chart this past week, which I found kind of funny. Like, this is that whole saga turned into a child game. It's kind of funny. But I mean, if the Steelers could beat the Browns, I gotta go with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, the way he played, and Andy Reid with the play calling, I thought he did really well. Then you got my Eagles and the Buccaneers. Flat out, the Eagles need to get to Fitzpatrick. If they do that, they'll win this. And Foles needs to step it up a little bit better. Let's see, just look at the schedule here. I'm looking for a game for my upset pick. So Monday night, you got Seattle against Chicago. Again, like I said, I think the Bears are a young team where Seattle might be coming to the end of their era. I'm going to go with the Bears because I don't think Seattle's defense is what it used to be. With the Richard Sherman, the Legion of Boom people or players. So I'm going with the Bears. But again, this could be another one, like just a field goal, 9-6. With the Bears defense, and even though I just said that the Seahawks defense isn't what they used to be, they're still a good defense. So, I mean, that's my picks for this coming week. If you guys want to shoot us your picks at the show's Twitter handle, it's ST Sports Podcast. You can also follow me at Jimbo ST Sports and King at King of Skunk Duck. You can also listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify we're on now also. I think we're going to try to get on some other ones, just if there's any ones that you guys want to hear us on, or your friends might listen to a different platform, just give us a yell and we'll try to get on that so you guys can listen together. But this is your good friend Jimbo, signing out. See ya.